Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Monetary help to the Filipinas family is a requirement. The next subject of the playlist, called Straight Talk to Western Men About Filipinas, is the ever-present, much maligned, and frequently despised topic of sending money back home to support the Filipinas family in the Philippines. Here, I will take the position that this is not only appropriate, but a requirement. Please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea for tips and advice on dating and marrying a Filipina. And be sure to share this if you know someone else who has similar interest. Click on the notification bell, but remember to do the final important step, which is to click on all to actually get notifications. So it's subscribe, notification bell, and then all, or apparently you won't get any notifications. I'm also on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Odyssey, BitChute, and I have podcasts you can subscribe to on Podbean. And just wanted to let you know about that. I take this seriously, trying to help other men. So someone will say, aha, so you are admitting that the only reason she married you was for your money. You're busted. Well, I think it's healthy to accept that the main objective she has in marrying a foreign man is to provide help for her family, who may be living in poor conditions. By the way, we've been married for over 6.5 years, so I do know a lot more than I did when I started this search of a wife, which I found her. We got married in less than 8 weeks, but I've certainly learned a lot while we've been married. So she wants to help her Filipino family. Now that's one side of the coin, no pun intended. Here's where the foreign man needs to be practical and unemotional. You were chosen, or will be chosen, because you can help her and her family by allowing her to work and even helping yourself. Why am I telling you this? Isn't this channel supposed to be encouraging men to seek and marry Filipinas? Well, it sure is. I'm not going to sit here and say to you, oh no, it is not a requirement to allow your Filipino wife to send back a good deal of her hard-earned money to help her family. I think it is a requirement if you're concerned about the health of your marriage. Hopefully you are. If you understand that her main objective in marrying a foreign man is to help provide for her family, not the only one, then you shouldn't have any trouble accepting that she is required to send money back home. It's more or less an obligation or a debt, the way she sees it. I want you to brace for this inevitability. She also wants a nice man, though, and is willing to bypass other options in the Philippines. You have to consider what you're getting with a Filipina wife, especially if you are interested in, a larger age gap. You should know that a Filipina who has been responsible to help her family in the past is very probably going to feel immense pressure to continue to do so for who knows how long, maybe until you have a baby. You may feel strongly opposed to that familial pressure, but there is nothing you can do about it. To properly understand your Filipino wife, it is necessary to allow her to fulfill her duty to her family, because she is more or less burdened to do so. Deciding beforehand that you will not allow her to help at all would end the relationship promptly. I want to be real with you, and I want to hear from you if you would, feel like leaving comments. And of course, I realize this is a touchy, controversial subject. You may have a healthy way of dealing with this that I haven't, discovered. I'd like to think the Filipina is sensitive to the needs of her overseas family, and quite possibly she might feel like she's being asked to do too much at times. She'll probably do it anyway. You can offer her emotional support, but that has to include the realization that she basically can't say no. Am I suggesting that when a Filipina marries a foreign man, that if she were to list her main objective, it would be to have a measure of financial security for herself and her family in the Philippines? Well, I would say yes. This is absolutely necessary to understand and accept when marrying a woman from a poor country. If you can possibly manage to set your ego aside and maybe preconceived ideas and acknowledge, better yet, grasp this reality. You're ready to invest yourself, again, no pun intended, into a relationship with a Filipina. I'm just trying to be, real with you. Allowing her to help back home is a given. But what about the foreign man? Okay, she has, a duty to help her family, but she isn't going to marry the highest bidder when it comes to marrying a Westerner. And that's where you come in. That's where I came in. Back in 2015, when I married my Filipina after a whirlwind 54-day getting to know you period. My wife acknowledged the other night, that we're still learning about each other 6.5 years later. And she didn't marry me because I made more money than anyone else interested in her. She accepted my proposal and we began our wedding plans before I talked to her in detail about, what was to become our finances. She already knew she would be working in America. That's what she wanted to do. That's what she told me. And she has done very well with that, probably surprising herself. And I am very proud of her. She is probably helping her family a lot more than she anticipated, and they're no doubt happy about that. However, she chose me to marry, and she's been a great wife. She was a free agent, and any foreigner could have pursued her, but apparently I was the most aggressive and intentional in everything I did. Here's the other side of the coin. Her objective was to provide for her family, but her priority was to marry someone she thought was a good man. I won her heart and her commitment by being sincere about wanting to get married and why, and she happened to be ready and willing to do that, even though this all happened so fast. Many Filipinas have told me that they wished they could find a foreigner who was serious about marriage, who didn't play games. Are you listening? Women on Christian Filipina, where I found my wife, have messaged me many times to say congratulations on finding a wife, and they hope they would find someone to love them too. By the way, I do have an affiliate link for Christian Filipina. If you're interested in seeing where all that magic started, just click on that link in the description box. I highly recommend them. So these women, Filipinas, wanted someone to love. They weren't looking for the highest bidder. I suppose some might. But they know full well that often a foreign man is not serious with her. Have the COVID quarantines and restrictions made it more difficult for Filipinas to find Westerners? I suppose it has. I hope they aren't losing interest. Some men have found it difficult to connect with women that I know. If you can develop something with a woman from the Philippines and be ready to see her as soon as the gates to the Philippines open again, you will be making good use of this downtime. Perhaps the men just aren't sure what to make of all this, which is what I want to help here with Love Beyond the Sea. The Filipinas are fully aware they're seeking a foreign man because he gives her the best chance to help her family and help her, and she is brave enough to go overseas to be with him. It's not easy for her to do. She will choose you because she feels you will be good to her, physically, emotionally, mentally, and embrace the realities of the Philippines. That's what the good women want. She is not a robotic, cold-blooded mercenary leaving everyone behind for the goal of some financial assistance. That is be a lazy way to look at it. You are free to disagree with me. I'm just trying to give the foreign man the best chance to succeed, and for that to happen, I feel the need to have straight talk to foreigners about Filipinas. I'll make a playlist about that. Good husbands want to help the Filipinas family. After all, they're now one big family, however far apart. So in the next installment of this playlist, I'm going to take just a little time and talk about why your money isn't enough for a Filipina and why you should want it that way. That's for next time here on Love Beyond the Sea.